All right. Hi, everyone. How are you today? If you are joining me live today, just say hi in the chat. Let me know if you're joining me live. And if you're watching the replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments so I know that you've caught the replay. All right. So, is there something that you do really well or something that you're kind of known for? Like cooking or teaching or some kind of skill or something that you've gotten really good at that people kind of like when they think of that, they think of you. Let me know. So, whatever it is for you, it's probably part of your identity, right? Like, I'm a really good teacher. So, you know, that's part of your identity, or you're really good at like baking or cooking, and that's part of your identity that people think of you uh, if they need to know how to bake something or a good recipe or something like that, right? So it's like part of your identity. It's how people identify you. And when people in your life confirm that by telling you you're a great cook, you're a great teacher, it's more motivating, right? To stick with it or to get better at it. Like when people say, you're really good at this, it kind of motivates you to say, yeah, maybe I'll, learn more about that, or I'll try to get better at it. People kind of when they tell you give you compliments about that, it kind of motivates you. That's what I'm trying to say. So it becomes one of your identity habits that you most likely prioritize, right? So if people know you as being a cook or a teacher or a good cook or a good teacher or something like that, um, it becomes part of your identity habit to keep pursuing that, to keep getting better at it, right? To focus on it. Um, and uh, so one of mine is holistic health. That is something I'm, known for. My friends and family that, if you think of health, you think of me. Like, whenever someone that I know has a question, they'll text me, call me, whatever, and ask me. So I'm always wanting to learn more and more to improve in that area, right? I'm always doing research. I'm always reading studies and papers on it and new science and new things that come out about health and about holistic health, things like that. What I can do to improve what I'm already doing or improve what I'm teaching my clients, things like that. So that's like one of my priorities that I'm always, you know, that I'm always wanting to improve in and stay up on, right? And that's what we're talking about today. How you can use your identity habits to stick with goals that are important to you. So, um, so first, I want to explain what identity habits are because you may have never heard of identity habits. You may not know what that means. What's the difference between an identity habit and a regular habit, right? So I want to explain what that is first, and then I will get into how to use them to achieve your goals and specifically your health goals, because uh, that's our focus in this group. So you can use your identity and your identity based habits to achieve health goals. So, what are identity habits? Identity based habits are the habits that you do because of who you are and who you strive to be. So, for example, if you're a writer, you probably write often, right? Like if you identify yourself as a writer, if you write books or write for a magazine, or just people know you as a good writer, that's probably something that you prioritize daily or at least weekly, right? You write often. So if you want to be healthier, like a healthier eater, you eat healthy food most of the time, right? Like if you want to identify yourself as a healthy eater, then you're going to eat healthy food, right? So the key to building lasting habits is to focus on creating your identity. Your current habits are a reflection of your current identity. So, whatever you prioritize in your life, whatever habits you prioritize, that is part of your identity. Because, like you've heard me say before, the sum of your habits, I mean, is your life. The sum of what you do on a daily basis or on a consistent basis, your habits, that is your identity. That is the sum of who you are, right? Um, so the behaviors that you currently do now are based on who you believe you are, either consciously or subconsciously. And in order to stick with the habits that you want, and be the person that you want to be, like have the identity that you want to have, you need to build new identity habits. Like if you don't like who you are right now, or you want to get better, like I don't want to say, you don't like, there's parts of us we like and there's parts of us we would like to change, right? So if you want to get better in certain areas, then you've got to start building some identity habits. And this, building identity based habits, is going to be it's going to get you a lot farther than just having these habits that are like, uh, I want to get healthier, or I want to lose some weight, or, I want to make more money, or whatever it is. If you actually set intentions to build identity based habits, that's going to take you a lot farther. you know it's not going to be short term goals. It's going to be more like long term goals, because you're creating your identity based on these goals and habits. So let me know if that makes sense to you. Hopefully I explained that well enough. So let's talk about some ways you can do this. And I have 3 steps, I think. So the first step is to decide what is important to you. So what I suggest is to write down the things that are most important to you. Like, what in your life, when you think of who you are, who you want to be, what makes you happy, what fulfills you, what you want to prioritize, like what is very important to you. What are those things? Write those down. Like, just write them down, and it doesn't matter how many. Just write down the things that are most important to you. Like, what are your non-negotiables that you want to prioritize over anything else? What in you what yeah what in your life do you want to prioritize? So I'm going to tell you mine, because that's the best example I can give you, is like my personal um you know priorities that are most important to me. They come before anything else going on in my life. So mine are faith, family, and health. Faith, family, and health. Those are what when I made my list, those are my top 3 that I feel like my identity, I want it to be based on those 3 things: faith, family, and health. So these are the 3 things, the 3 areas that I focus on daily. These are my habits reflect these three things. So, they are what is most important to me and make up my identity, and most of it, right? Um, so, if someone asks me to do something that interferes with these one of these three priorities, 90% of the time I say no if it interferes. Um, and like, I wasn't always like this. I wasn't, because I used to, I would agree to things because I wanted everybody to like me. Like, I wasn't really a yes person like some people are, they say yes to everything. But I did want people to like me. And so I would base my answer on if this would make them like me more. If I could score points with them or whatever. And I didn't really like that, so I finally had to learn to stop doing it that way, to basing my decision on that. Um, but yeah, I realized that saying yes to others meant saying no to myself sometimes, like a lot of times. And so um that's that's really like where a lot of us tend to lose our identity, right? When we ignore the things that are important to us, like our non negotiables, the things that we feel like are most important and make up our identity, or we want to make up our identity. And we start saying yes to other people and what they want us to do. So I think this is really the thing you have to think about is like, your habits, what are they based on? Are they based on your non-negotiables, like what is very important to you, what you want to prioritize, or are they based on pleasing others and wanting to make them happy? That's really what you have to ask yourself. So, where does that get us? Where does that get us when we ignore ourselves, ignore who we want to be, our identity, what's important to us, and we start saying yes to others, right? Well, for me, it made me stressed, anxious, and unhealthy. Like, I was super unhealthy because I was ignoring my health and what was important to me, you know. Um, and and I don't want to be known as the woman that says yes to everything. Like, I do not want that title. That is not who I want to be. And a great phrase that I learned from Mel Robbins that I use all the time now, when someone asks me to do something and it does interfere with my identity habits, my identity based habits, is thank you, but I'm as busy as I want to be right now. And I just love that, and I love that she shared that, and she got that from someone else. She doesn't take credit for it. I don't remember who she got it from, but I read it on one of her posts one time, and I really liked that, and I was like, that is like the perfect thing to say when, you you need to tell someone no, thank you, but I'm as busy as I want to be right now. And whenever I use this phrase, people respect it. They totally respect it. They actually like say, thank you for replying, thank you for letting me know. And they don't disrespect me. They respect what I said, that phrase. So spend a few minutes and think about 3 to 5 priorities that are most important to you. What are your 3 to 5 priorities that you want to prioritize daily or weekly, at least weekly, that that will make you who you want to be, your identity. That when you think of yourself and your identity, what are those things? What do you want to be known as? What do you, when people think of you, what do you want them to know you as? Spend a few minutes and think about what your priorities are, what you want to even if you're not prioritizing them now, what is it that you desire to prioritize to become who you want to be, who strive who to be who you want to be. So just think about that. That's the first step. Okay, so once you have your priorities, think about what identity habits you need to get consistent with to achieve the things that you wrote down and said are important to you. So, whatever it is, whatever your non-negotiables are, your priorities, um, what comes to mind? Like, what habits come to mind when you say, I want to be this, these are my priorities. So, what are your habits going to be to reflect those priorities? That's what you need to think about. Your habits need to be more specific and less general. You want your habits to reflect the identity that you want, not just the outcome you want. You don't, outcome habits, outcome goals, they're okay, but they're usually more short-lived than linking your identity to your habits. So that's the difference. Um, so so you need to think about the identity that you want and not just the outcome that you want. So for me, I have specific habits that I do each day based on what my priorities are, and I'm going to share that with you. So for my faith priority, I pray and I read my devotional every morning. It is a priority every single morning. That is what I do as soon as I get up out of bed. Well, after like going to the bathroom and stuff. But as soon as I wake up, go to the restroom, um, that is the first thing I do. I pray and I read my devotional every morning. And that just sets the tone for my day. It is a habit that I prioritize because that is one of my identities that I want, right? Faith. Um, so I do that. And then for my family priority, I do a few things. We usually eat dinner together. That is something I've been prioritizing for a while. Now, every now and then we'll have a night where, my husband may work late or my son has a basketball game or something like that, where we're together, but we may not eat dinner together. We may eat dinner in like shifts, like, if somebody's home at a different time than the other. But 7 nights a week, 90% of the time, we are eating dinner together. And so another family priority thing that we do is we pray together at bedtime. So both of my kids have devotionals that we read them. Well, not my son, he reads his own devotional, and then we talk about what he read. So I know that he's comprehending it. But my daughter, we read hers to her. And we pray together. We pray with the kids every night and before their bedtime. And that's another thing that I prioritize as a family. And it's kind of faith and family together. And then we also prioritize spending Saturdays together. So as a family together, most of the time we do, like 90% of the time, we spend our Saturdays together and as a family, all four of us. And, I know that's going to change as my kids get older and they may get jobs or have friends they want to hang out with and stuff. And that happens sometimes now as well. But we really do try to make it a priority. you know, and I know some people who, they have teenagers or older kids and they don't, and they're all doing different things and they have all different schedules and they have jobs and things like that. So you can't do that. That's not realistic. So you have to decide what if your family is one of your priorities, what is it what can you do as a family? What can you do to prioritize spending time together, right? Can you eat dinner together a couple nights a week? Can you eat Sunday brunch or Sunday lunch together, or Sunday dinner? A lot of people do that I know. They prioritize that Sunday dinner as a family. So that is what we do. That is what I prioritize for my family um, priority, right? That's one of those are my identity based habits for family. And then for my health priority, I get exercise daily. Like I have to do something every day, whether it's yoga, I walk the dog every day. So whether I do anything else like yoga, lifting weights, anything like that, I do walk my dog daily. And so that's exercise for him and I. And so I prioritize that. I eat nutrient dense whole foods most of the time. You guys know I do 80/20. So that's another one of my health priorities. And then another one that I've done in the last few years is really prioritize getting sunlight and fresh air every day because a few years ago, I didn't think it was that important. Now, the more I learn, the more I research about holistic health and I read studies and I read all these things. Um, I realize how important sunlight, vitamin D, fresh air, just getting outside, getting in nature, connecting with nature. I realize how important that is now. And so I really, as one of my identity based habits, I really prioritize that. So the walking my dog really helps with that. I get sunlight every morning. I get fresh air every day. Um, so those are my those that's how I prioritize my priorities and that those are my identity based habits. And um so when you do this step, I want you to think about what specific habits you need to do daily or at least weekly to achieve the identity that you want. Excuse me. So once you have your once you decide the 3 to 5 things that are important to you, then you have to decide what habits are going to help you be that person, be that identity. So, and you don't have to start with one habit at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself because then it'll be harder to stick to. So, I didn't do all these at one time. I slowly built on them, and now I have them all where I do them daily and consistently. But I didn't do that all at one time. I slowly built on these habits, right? So I don't want you to be overwhelmed and think that you have to do everything at one time. So this kind of plays into my next step, which is consistency. So how do you stay consistent with your habits when you don't feel motivated, right? We don't always feel motivated uh, to exercise or to eat right or whatever it is. Um, Board game time. Yeah, I know that's one of your priorities, Mary. I love that. I absolutely love that. Um, but so what do you do to stay consistent with your habits when you don't feel motivated? Um, what you do is you plan your habits. You plan them instead of winging them, so you become consistent with them. That's really the easiest and most realistic way to be consistent. It's just like, you guys, when you have a job that you have to be at, like, at a certain time, and you go there and you leave at a certain time. It's just like that. You don't always feel motivated to go to work, right? You don't always feel motivated to do the job. But guess what? It's a priority of yours. So you do it anyway, right? You get it done whether you want to or not. And that is the same thing with your identity habits. You get them done whether you feel motivated to or not. And so part of that is planning them, having a plan, knowing what you're not just saying you're going to do it and then not having any plan of how you're going to do it. That's why I want you to be specific, so you don't wing it and you can be consistent with things. So a lot of my clients have found it helpful to schedule their habits. Schedule their habits, like on a calendar, in your phone, wherever you write down your meetings, your appointments, things like that. I do mine on my phone. And so if that's what works for you, and then I have alerts on my phone. If I have a doctor's appointment, if I have a meeting, if I have something at the kids' school that I need to go get to at a certain time, whatever it is, I put it on my calendar. And when I was first starting out with some of these goals, with some of these identity habits, that's what I did as well. Like, now I've got them down. They're like just ingrained in me. They are a part of my day. I will never forget to do them. I'm consistent with them, so I don't have to schedule them in my phone anymore. But when you're first starting out and you're trying to get consistent with these habits, you've got to plan it, like an appointment, or a meeting, like the same way. So a lot of my clients have found that to be very helpful when I suggest that, and they find it a lot easier to stay consistent when they're like, okay, at 7 a.m. I'm gonna go for a walk. At 7:30, I'm gonna make this healthy breakfast that I already planned out. I know what I'm eating, things like that. So I want you to try that if you have trouble, like, remembering, or you just you haven't ever been able to stay consistent with, like, your goals and what you want to, your habits, what you want to stay consistent with. If you have trouble with that, try this. And like I said, keep in mind that you don't have to be perfect, or spend a lot of time with your new habits, right? If you want, if you want to get stronger, if you want to build muscle, like, I have clients that, they want to build muscle, they want to get stronger, they want to age well, and so they know that having more muscle is going to help them do that. So you know, I tell them, you don't have to spend a lot of time at the gym. You don't even have to go to the gym. I don't go to the gym. I just have little dumbbells that I use. So start with 1 or 2 sets of bicep curls, start with 1 or 2 sets of squats, or whatever it is you can do. Do 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and build up from there as you get stronger. If you want to lose weight, instead of redoing your whole diet, commit to one healthy meal a day. If you're eating out a lot, or eating very processed foods a lot, like three meals a day, or lots of snacking or whatever, just commit to one healthy meal a day, one whole foods, nutrient dense meal a day, and work up to more. Work up to more slowly, like eat one healthy meal a day, and do that until you feel really good about it, like it's consistent, you're consistently doing that. Then okay, I'm going to start eating two healthy meals a day, and just work up to it. And you don't have to like say, um you don't have to say, well, I eat nothing but fast food and processed food all day, but I'm going to redo everything. I'm not going to eat any more fast food, any more processed food. I'm only going to eat healthy food. How long do you think that's going to last for you? You've got to slowly work up to that. If you want long-term habits, if you want to build identity habits, if you want a new identity, work up slowly to it. You don't have to overhaul everything. Just start with one meal a day, like I said. Um, so, it's just way more realistic to start with small improvements like that. Um, so I hope that helps you guys. Hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully you can start making identity habits instead of like outcome based habits. Um, And one more last tip. I want to suggest if you're still having trouble sticking to your identity habits, it's time to get some accountability. Like if you try this and you are still having trouble, get some accountability. Having having someone keep you accountable to what you say you want your identity to be, what you say your goals you want your goals to be. um it helps you stay consistent when you have somebody holding you accountable. So I suggest finding someone who either has the same goals as you, like if it's around health, fitness, eating better, whatever it is. Find someone that has the same goals as you, or has already achieved what you want to achieve, right? So, find someone who has done it, and they can mentor you, and they can give you advice, and you can look up to them and see what they did and ask them questions. Um, Good. I'm glad you liked it. Good. I'm glad it helps. Um, Oh, and you're doing dumbbells. That's good. Yeah. Um, so find some accountability, and that's what I do for my clients. I am that accountability for them. I'm making sure that they are sticking with the goals they say they have, right? With the identity based habits they say they want. And so if you are having trouble, seek some accountability, whether that's through friends, family, someone like somebody at work, or just someone in your life that who's been through it, or a health coach like me, a nutritionist, um, whatever that is for you. Just I would get some accountability so that you can really get consistent with these things if you have trouble with that. So I want you to go prove your identity to yourself. I want you to prove your identity to yourself by doing identity based habits, not performance based habits. Knowing what you knowing what you want your identity to be, and basing your habits on that will get you so much further. So, if you want to dive deeper into the topic and get some clarity on what your identity habits should be, like if you're having trouble coming up with what you should do, put me in the comments, and I will reach out in the DMs, and we can chat about it. I can help you come up with your identity based habits. Um, based on what you say is important to you, we can come up with some habits for you so you can start working on your identity and who you want to be. All right, you guys. I hope this was helpful. I really love this topic, and you guys just let me know. Comment in the comments in the chat if you found this helpful, if you do need some accountability, or if you just want to chat about your habits and what they should be. All right, guys, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.